Okay, now we have Maddie and her butterfly stroke. So Maddie, as we're watching you swim butterfly, the one thing that I kind of feel that really kind of hinders you in terms of your breath and the timing of your breath is how you come out of the water on your butterfly. So we want to, you're kind of leading with the elbow there, and what that causes is you to come out really early on your butterfly. So you come away from the body a little bit and you come out early, really early towards just the very tip of end of your suit. And what happens there is I would rather see the arm a little straighter and your hand here as you're exiting the water. So finishing a little bit more towards the mid-thigh with your hand as you're coming back in the stroke. As you finish there, it's going to give you a little more time to set up for the breath. So as we advance forward, nice low arms, turning the hands a little bit early, just the left hand. The right hand was very good, pinky down. Left hand's turning a little bit early to palm down. So we just want to keep that turn. Entry's right in front of the shoulders. So very good point there. Hips could raise a little bit. Hands are a little wide. So at this point, you want to be more there with the arm. You can see yours is here. You're a little bit outside that, so you're a little bit wide with both arms. We want to be a little bit, just a little bit wider than the shoulders as we start to catch the water and pull back. And you're just sliding out a little bit wider than that to start your catch. And then as you're looking here for your breath, you can see those elbows bent again, hands coming out early. And what that does is now you're rushed. So you lifted the head a little high for the breath. I think it helps, it kind of creates that as well. So if you finish early with your stroke and you keep those elbows bent, it gets your chin a little bit high above the water, okay? We want to be pushing that chin forward to that second line, very low to the water, surface of the water. And that's going to give you a better profile when you're moving forward. You're not pushing yourself up. That's kind of wasted energy to lift your head that high out of the water for the breath. You want to be a lot lower to the water. And I think if you can finish your stroke, it's going to help that a lot. Arms coming over, good angle. But again, we can see your head is still up as your hands are starting to enter the water. So head and hands are entering the water at the same time. So if we can be a little lower with that breath, finish the hands to back to the mid-thigh, it's going to help you have time to get your head down ahead of your arms. Because what happens is right now you're aiming with your arms, so you're going to be relatively flat. So it's going to be hard to get forward momentum or that downward angle that we want in fly. At this point, your head should be here. Your arms will still be up, but your head is already diving forward and your chest is diving forward. So that's giving you some forward and downward momentum. And yours is kind of still a little bit up and a little bit flat. So you're not getting near the thrust on the front end of the stroke. I think that's what causes the hands to be a little wide when you go to start your pull too. As we're coming towards the wall for the turn, again, we kind of talk about this all the time. And I'm going to back it up a little bit. Okay. So as you're reaching for the wall, your head is kind of down, but it's kind of looking at the cross. Okay. And we want to be looking toward the bottom. So in the video that I showed, looking at turns, the swimmer coming into the wall is looking at the bottom of the pool, not looking at the cross. And that helps you to really create that tuck, create that knee tuck, and get tighter with your turn, get faster with the rotation. And you can see your head comes straight out of the water. You're looking at the back wall. And again, we talked about you're looking here because your legs are still here. And what we want is the head to stay down a little bit longer so that your knees are here, feet are here, closer to the wall, and then when that head comes back, you're looking straight at the ceiling in that tuck position. So this is going to slow you down a little bit it's not quite a tuck. You're kind of throwing the head back into the turn. So that'll be a little slower at that point. And then nice, you got the hand bent right behind the head, which is good. But again, I think you can get those hips to the wall faster, those knees to the wall faster, if you initiate the turn with the knees and not the head. Anytime that I see swimmers have trouble getting their feet to the wall quickly, it's always that they're leading with the head. They lift their head first. So that's where you're at, and it'd be a lot better if you can pull those knees in and keep the eyes down. You can see there, raising up really high for that breath. We want to push that chin forward and not lift the head over, because then that causes that late breath. You see, we still see part of the CSP cap, and the hands are trying to enter as the head's still above the hands at this point. So that's where you're losing a lot of your forward momentum on your stroke. And for me, it all starts with exiting the water so early. You can see the bent arms and exiting and the head pulling up. I think it's a lot to do with the head pulling so high. That forces the elbows to bend and you to come out of the water early on your recovery. And if you had the chin down and you're lifting the head forward, lifting the chin forward for the breath, that's going to keep those hands further back in the finish of the stroke, so they're not coming out early. You just don't have enough time. If you watch frame by frame, you can just see your hands exiting that early are going to get ahead of your head, and it's going to be an awkward position when you're trying to enter at this point. So if we can just kind of change that, change the breath position, pull the chin forward into the breath, and finish the stroke a little further back on the leg, that's going to help.